experiences was to organize them and categorize them into what we call concepts. Therefore, when we hear the word dog, for example, our mind tries to capsulize all our perceived experiences of what a dog is and create a concept that is exclusively meant for what a dog is. And so, be it a white or a black or a shepherd, a puppy or an adult, a chihuahua, Shih Tzu, or a German Shepherd, the concept of a dog was already established in our minds, and thereby we are able to understand the essence of a dog. Okay. Essence in philosophy simply means the whatness of a thing or a concept. In short, Aristotle and other empiricists like him, John Locke, David Hume, and others believes that our sense perception is the primary source of knowledge. Okay, so let's have a little exercise. Okay, let me explain this by asking you some very simple questions. 1. When was the first time you learned and understood what a chalk is? Okay, naalala niyo pa ba? Okay, second, have you had an experience of knowing and understanding a thing or an object or a particular intangible experience for the very first time? Okay, when you first saw your crush, how would you describe your feelings? Is it something no human reason can explain? Okay, now, based on your answers to these exercises, you can see the role of our human experiences towards the attainment of knowledge. With this contention, we can clearly say that Aristotle and the rest of the empiricists would claim that truth is our fundamental experiences of the things around us, which are objectively observable and verifiable. To say, therefore, that a fire is hot, a steel is hard, a dog barks, a cat meows, the COVID-19 virus is contagious, the earth is round is nothing less than statement of truth. However, whenever we say something about something which is not objectively observable and verifiable, nor is essentially a characteristic of that particular thing, then those statements can only be considered as opinion. Okay, so kapag ka sinabi ko na yung boyfriend ko ay mas gwapo sa boyfriend mo, so I am only expressing an opinion since my judgment is subjective but not objective. Okay. Inasmuch as the truth and validity of a statement or a claim is concerned, Aristotle developed one of most essential branches of philosophy, the art and science of correct thinking and reasoning, which is logic. Logic is derived from the Greek word logike, which means art of reasoning. It is actually founded on the concept of common sense and particular, or rather, practical reasoning. Say for example, you know that the apple on your table is fake and is actually made from styrofoam. Kakainin mo pa ba yun? Siyempre hindi. Because common sense dictates that it is fake. With this example, Aristotle had contributed to us several ways and means in determining the truth and validity of a statement or a claim through the art of logic. There are those statements or claims which we may hear or read which seem to be true but are actually erroneous. These are known as fallacies. A fallacy is an error in reasoning and judgment, either intentionally or not. Historically, those people who intentionally employ the use of these erroneous arguments are referred to as the sophists, and their method is known as sophistry. Fallacies are classified under formal and non-formal. Formal fallacies are due to a violation of any of the rules governing the argument or inference, such as immediate inferences like the oppositional inferences and eduction, and mediate inferences such as categorical and hypothetical syllogisms. Okay, in your module, there are several examples of fallacies, specifically the non-formal fallacies. So as I have already said a while back, non-formal fallacies can be classified into two: the linguistic, or also known as the fallacy of ambiguity or may kalabuan, and the non-linguistic, or also known as the fallacy of relevance. Linguistic fallacies express lack of preciseness in the words, phrases used to express thought. Examples of this are the following. Okay, so the first example of non-formal fallacy or under linguistic fallacy is the fallacy of equivocation. Okay, we have the fallacy of equivocation due to the ambiguous use of a word in a sentence or in argument. Example. Okay, so we have again the major, the minor, and the conclusion. The major premise is Lapu-Lapu is the killer of Magellan. Minor premise, Lapu-Lapu is a fish. And the conclusion, therefore, a fish is the killer of Magellan. Another example of equivocation is a conversation between an employer and an applicant. Okay, so employer to a job applicant. He said, in this job, we need someone who is responsible. But then the applicant said, then I'm the one you are looking for. In fact, in my previous job, whenever something went wrong, they said I was the one responsible. Okay, that's number one. Next, we have the fallacy of ambiguity. Okay. It occurs when a phrase or sentence is ambiguous because of faulty grammatical construction. Ano kaya yung mali dito? I would like to buy a clock for my boyfriend with 3 hands. Diba yung pagkaka-construct ng sentence? Ano ba yung bibilin mo? Relo ba talaga? O boyfriend na mayroong 3 kamay? Okay, next we have number 3, accent or prosody. Fallacy, it is a kind of fallacy which occurs when we make conclusions based on the faulty emphasis on certain parts of the sentence. Example, the teacher said the class is lazy. So what is stressed here will determine who is lazy. Is it the teacher or the class? Okay. Next, a car driver was flagged down by a traffic officer for a violation. So pinara yung car driver ng traffic officer. Ano ba yung violation? Okay, let's see the conversation. The driver said or asked the enforcer, "What's wrong, officer? Did I violate anything?" Then the enforcer throw up another question. "Did you not see the sign?" The driver says, "Yes, sir. Actually, I wasn't supposed to come back, but the sign says no U-turn. And so, I turned." Another example of an accent or prosody is this statement. Sabi, "We must respect our elders." Ano kaya yung mali dito? So, if one puts emphasis on the last 2 words, then we would conclude that we may not respect those who are not elders. Okay? A fallacy of division consists in taking separately what should be taken together or in taking the properties of the whole as properties of the parts. Okay. So, ito example natin. Kunwari, yung wedding namin dito ni Park So June. Baka singit lang. Okay, PSJ and PLG, pwede. Sabi ng mga chismosa, number 1. Chismosa number 1. Uy, magkano nagastos niyo ni Park Seo-joon sa kasal niyo? Sagot naman ng kausap niya, balita ako 5 million pesos eh. Sagot nung una, yung kausap, yung nag-umpisa ng conversation. Ha? Sabi niya, ang mahal naman. Ibig sabihin, itong cake na to, 5 million na. Ganon. So, tingnan niyo ha, properties of the whole as properties of the parts. Next, we have the fallacy of composition. Kabaligtaran ng fallacy of division. Consists in taking together what should be taken separately or in taking the properties of the parts as properties of the whole. Okay, opposite ng division na. Sabi niya, ito yung ano, ang liit naman ng room ng apartment mo. Siguro, maliit ang apartment mo. So, it does not follow na kung yung room mo ay maliit, eh maliit na din yung apartment mo. So, next one. Hindi ako makabili ng kotse. Hindi ako makabili ng mansyon. Ay nako, wala na akong mabili kahit ano. O, diba? Okay. Next. In a biology class, sa tanong ng student, Ma'am, do cells have brains? Meron bang utak yung cells? Sagot ni teacher, wala. Bakit mo natanong? So, sagot ng student, well, if cells have no brains and our body is made up of cells, then we have no brain. Ganun ba? It does not follow. Next, we have the parallel word construction that consists in arguing from similarity in word structure to a similarity in meaning. Okay. For example, in a grade 4 history class, ay yung convo between the teacher and his students. Tanong ni teacher, class, the people from Burma are called, and then the students will answer in chorus or answered in chorus, Burmese. Tama naman, di ba? Yung mga tao doon, ang tawag ay Burmese. Okay, sagot, tanong pa ulit ni teacher. Okay, how about the people from China? Sumagot ulit yung mga bata, ang gagaling nila, Chinese. Okay, very good. Ang gagaling niya talaga, sabi ni teacher, I'm so proud of you. Now, how about the people from the Philippines? They are called, and then the students answered in chorus, sagot nila, Philippines. Okay, mali. Go. Okay, let's have a little exercise about this linguistic fallacies. So, the instruction is, you will going to determine the linguistic fallacies committed in the given statements. Okay, number 1, the universe is spherical in form because all the constituent parts of the universe, that is the sun, moon, and the planets, appear in this form. So, what kind of linguistic fallacy is this? A, the fallacy of composition. Okay, next, number 2. 1 Indian, 2 Indians, 1 bag, 2 bags, 1 child, 2 childs. What kind of linguistic fallacy? Okay, so it is parallel word construction. Okay, let's have number 3. The book of Dan Brown is expensive. Thus, every page of that book is very expensive. Okay, it is fallacy of division. Okay, number 4. Sabi, no husbands, please. Ano kaya ang klase ng fallacy ito? Okay, so it is amphiboly. Okay, and lastly, number 5, conversation between the judge and an accused. Okay, tanong ng judge, did you say no? Ang sagot ng accused, yes! I mean, gano'n. So that is a fallacy of equivocation. Dalawa yung meaning nung question nung judge. Okay, there you go. Those were the common linguistic fallacies. This time, let us have examples of non-linguistic fallacies. By the way, these fallacies arise when something about an argument tempts us simply to overlook the fact that there really is no connection between the premises and the conclusion. So here are some examples. Okay, so under non-linguistic fallacy, we have petitio principii or principii, begging the question or circular argument. So it's an argument that assumes the truth of the conclusion to be proved. Somehow, sasabihin natin, namimiloso po ka, pero hindi. Ito yung mga tinatawag noon sa panahon ni Socrates na sophistry. Ang tawag sa taong gumagawa nito ay sophist. Example, bakit ka late? Kasi po hindi po ako maaga eh. Di ba? Ice is cold, thus it is not hot. No one has seen God, and therefore there is no God. Ang apat na example, he is happy because he has no problems. And I know he has no problem because I always see him happy. Second, we have accident. Consists in the confusion of the accidental and the essential or necessary elements of a thing. This may also consist in thinking that because something can be abused, then its use must be forbidden. One has to tell the truth always. Tama naman, di ba? Therefore, if a murderer confesses his crime to the priest, it is but proper for the priest to reveal the truth to the police authorities. Diba sa Katoliko, we have the so-called sacrament of penance. Okay. But then, dapat sealed yun. Walang makakaalam. Okay? Next, we have to be generous to others. Thus, during examination, we have to share our answers with our seatmate to show that we are generous. Tama ba yun? Syempre hindi. Kaya nga, there is a faulty error. Next, we have false cause or post hoc ergo or propter hoc. Consists in assigning a wrong cause to a given effect. Ito yung sa panahon natin ngayon, parang tinatawag ng mga superstitious beliefs, di ba? Mga pamahiin. Okay. Fallacy. Jekyll scratches his nose and tummy. After 1 minute, the volcano erupts. Hence, the scratching of Jekyll's nose and tummy causes the eruption. Diba? Anong connect nun? So, false cause. Okay. He failed the exam because he took it on Friday the 13th. Hindi porke nag-take siya ng exam ng Friday the 13th ay babagsak ka na. But then, itong statement na to ay under ng false cause or post hoc. Post hoc ergo. Another thing, we have the non sequitur. Ay another kind of non-linguistic fallacy, which literally means it does not follow or irrelevant conclusion. Ano kayang connect, di ba? Check natin. Number 1 example. First example. The Philippines is suffering economically now because ABS-CBN was no longer airing. Life is a mix of positive and negative experiences. It is like 1 plus 1 minus 1 equals 1. Tama ba yun? Anong connect? So, non-sequitur. Okay, another example, another kind of non-linguistic fallacy is argumentum ad ignorantiam. Okay, ignorance, appealing to ignorance, argues that something is true because it can be proven as false, or asserts that something is false because it can be proven as true. Example, if you can prove me wrong, then I must be right. Diba? No one has come back to tell us that there is such a place like hell. Therefore, there is no hell. Okay, another. Argumentum ad hominem. It is a argument or an argument directed to the person. Okay, attacks the person or character of the one arguing. Example, we can trust this person's argument Sa siyang manginginom. Sa siyang lasenggero. Huwag nating paniniwalaan yan. So, argumentum ad hominem. Jesus Christ was also a victim of this erroneous argument. Why should we believe in Him? Sabi ng mga tao noon. Paano natin siya paniniwalaan? Or bakit natin siya paniniwalaan? Siya lamang ay isang anak ng karpintero. Okay, again, argumentum ad hominem. Okay, next, we have argumentum ad populum, or appealing to people. Consists in an emotional appeal to the people to win their assent to a conclusion and supported by good evidence. Okay, so many people believe that the earth is flat. Therefore, the earth is flat. Another, everyone in the class is cheating in the examinations. Kung kaya't dahil ginagawa na nilang lahat yon, therefore, I should also cheat. Okay, so those are examples of argumentum ad populum. Okay, another, argumentum ad verecundiam. This is an appeal to misplaced authority. Okay, consists of citing as proofs the statement of someone who happens not to be an authority on the things in a question. Example, these pills must be safe and effective. They have been endorsed by John Lloyd Cruz, a famous actor. So it doesn't mean na dahil si John Lloyd Cruz ay isang famous actor, in-endorse na yun, so okay yung pills na yun para sa atin. So yun, wala siya sa otoridad, di ba? Next, we have a teenager bought a pair of new Air or Jordan shoes. Tanong ng ma'am, wow, that looks cool and expensive. Matibay ba to? Sagot ng teenager, I don't know. Ko lang. Sabi ng ma'am, ni mother, will it make you good at basketball? Sagot ng teenager, not really. Tanong ulit ni ma'am, then why did you buy it? Eto, check nyo. Sagot ng teenager, come on ma'am, cause it's Michael Jordan. O diba? Argumentum ad verecundiam. Hindi porke yon ay si Michael Jordan or endorser ay si Michael Jordan, bibilin mo na yon. Diba? Dapat check mo pa rin kung matibay, maganda, maayos, and everything. Yung quality. Pero dyan, makikita mo na binili niya yon dahil kay Michael Jordan. Argumentum ad verecundiam. Next, we have the argumentum ad misericordiam. An appeal to pity. Misery. Argument, this is a kind of an argument that appeals to a person's emotions to get his assent to a certain conclusion. Example, a student should be given a passing grade because he is soon to graduate, or because if he fails the subject, his parents would kill him. Okay, so hindi mo siya dapat ibagsak kasi nag-graduate na siya. At kapag bumagsak siya, papatayin siya ng magulang niya. So dahil sa awa, pinasa mo. Argumentum ad misericordiam yon. Next, Your Honor, my client John Santos does not deserve to be in prison. He has five small children and a wife suffering from breast cancer. Kung ikaw yung judge, anong gagawin mo? Ano susundin mo? Yung utak mo o yung puso mo? Okay, again, argumentum ad misericordiam. Next, we have argumentum ad baculum, an appeal to force, might, or threat. It consists in the use of threat or force to prove a certain point. Example, you better think twice before failing that student. Remember, he is the son of a mayor. Okay. Mag-iisip ka mabuti, di ba? But then, it is a fallacy, argumentum ad baculum. Merong puwersa, may pagbabanta. That's it, guys. Alright. I hope you did enjoy the lesson for this module. With this lesson, I also hope that you somehow appreciate Aristotle, who lived in the time when all these sorts of technology we have at present was not yet developed. Did you know that his logic became an inspiration to the mathematicians and scientists who have developed and applied these logical basics or principles so we can have all these gadgets we are enjoying at present? Your smartphones, tablets, laptops, televisions, name it. You name the wish, all have logic boards or chips, and as the name implies, these are run by logical programs for them to work and become useful, so we can do our task a lot easier and more comfortable. This is worth pondering, isn't it? Okay, so that's it guys, and as Aristotle once said, well begun is half done. I encourage you to do the right thing right the first time. Never give up. Always keep on going. We will all going to make it through this crisis. I see you again. Bye-bye.